speak, BK? Are you there? I don't think he can. It's pretty late over there in Singapore. He's a celebrated VC from and a real estate guy from. Did you meet BK before? Did I introduce you to him?
Hey, Sarah, we are just about getting started. Today is going to be an excellent show. We have several people who are participating in the events that are coming up in Dubai, and I'm excited to get started. And so we're going to just give a couple more minutes to set the room, allow more people to come in and raise their hand if they're being spotlit today. I know we're going to be speaking to Jonathan Foltz. He's going to be talking on conscious capitalism. And we have our Kayutel with Andreas Fink, who hopefully is going to show up today. I know he was here last week talking about what they're doing in the telecom space and changing the world, and a few more others from Disrupt. So we'll just give a few more minutes while we're setting the room. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, a couple of thumb rules before we do that, though, as you people pile in. LinkedIn has capacity of only getting 16 people on the speakers panel. So trying to communicate using the comment section, that also encourages the algorithm. Click on three dots, then click on view events. And when you do that, you have the comment section. Click on comment section. You can tag people over there. You can add people over there. You can share this as a post on your LinkedIn. So that's how you communicate. So usually on Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, it's more streamlined, but over here it's like this. It's hidden. Okay. Sharing the link with a lot of more people. We do have where is it? Brandy, are you trying to talk? Because I can't hear. Brandy, are you there? Mic check 1, 2, 3. Are you lost with your microphone by any chance? Brandy? No? Shall I take over? Can't hear you though. Can't hear you. I know you're on micing, but I can't hear you.
Technical, high-tech value systems, high-tech, and a fast-paced world. We're our go time. Let's go, Sarah, with the introductions.
All right, so you want me to start to introduce?
Yes, please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the episode number 31 of Yash 3.0 Abundance and Wealth podcast. For those who want to know about the genesis of the podcast, it's all about spiritual aspect of wealth creation in accordance with high tech and business. Hosted to you by a seasoned veteran named Brandy Whale. If you want to know more about her, you can go to her profile and see her accomplishments. She does have a sea of accomplishments. But as I am to talk about this podcast, it does have sponsorship. It is sponsored by Kayutel. Kayutel is building up a super fast wireless internet network for West African countries like Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, It's powered 100% by solar power. It brings fast and reliable internet to the countries while remaining affordable. Cardano is part of the group of companies which bring the internet to the rural areas and less developed part of the West African nations. They are expanding like nothing else, and they are blockchain power because they have the token CAJ, that is CAJ, that is available for grabs. You can check them out at CoinMarketCap. They have amazing features. They have done projects with WikiLeaks, and again, if you want to check them out, we have written a detailed cover on them on our website, www.coinrepublic.com, Asia's leading crypto news agency, with hundreds and thousands of people tuning in every single day trying to read our articles. But the bug doesn't stop there, of course, because we have done it all. A couple of months ago, we did one physical event in Dubai. That went well. We're doing another event, Web3 Consortium event, in a couple of days, April 20th to be exact. Madam Vale is going to be there in person. She's going to be talking about that. I'm going to pass the mic to Madam Vale about the event in itself. What does it mean to her? As well as I'm going to ask people to get your hands up, and I'm going to ask the host to get them up on the speakers panel in the meantime. Thank you. Back to you, Madam.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. It is a joy and honor and a pleasure to be able to rock the boat just a little bit on the show. Yes, 3.0 Abundance and Wealth with me, your host, and the Coin Republic, and also Kayutel, bringing us to a whole new dimension of telecom. So today's show is all based on conscious capitalism. We're going to not make it so scary to talk about being conscious or having capital as a part of our ethos, our mission, our vision, our purpose. You know, sometimes we get involved in business and things seem really fun and exciting in the very beginning. And what happens over time, we get focused on profit. And listen, I'm just like the rest of you. I love profit. Not only do I like profit, I like to share profits. That means growing companies, scaling and then exiting, and then building and building and building. So on today, on this spotlight opportunity, if you're out there and you want to come to the stage and you want to talk about your experience and investing, if we have investors in the room, this is a podcast focused on founders and funders. Founders and funders, innovators and entrepreneurs, thought leaders coming to the table to say, you know, I've thought about this, and I want to do business differently. I'm excited about life. I want to share my wealth, and here's how we're going to do it. I want to amplify those who are on the call today. I'd like to bring, if we can get started, Andreas, are you in the audience? Can we bring you up to the stage? Andreas is the CEO of Kayutel. If you raise your hand, we'll bring you up to the stage and we'll talk a little bit about conscious capitalism with you and why Kayutel is bringing telecom to the more rural areas and how you're doing it. Okay, excellent. And as we get started, here we go. And as we get started, just know this is an open dialogue. It's not like any other podcast or social audio out there. We're talking about the third place, not just Web3, not this new world, this neo-economics. We're talking about that third place, not your home, not your school or your institution, but your community. Because everyone knows, even if you're the best of the best in business, a successful business requires community, which is common unity. And so with that being said, I want to welcome Andreas Fink. Thank you for being here again this week. I'm excited to see you in Dubai. And if you come on and say hello and a few words about who you are and what you're up to.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andreas Fink, and I'm the founder of Kayutel. And I have been in the internet business since 30 years, started up an internet provider in Switzerland originally, went into data centers, mobile networks, and now I'm just redoing the same thing again with Kayutel to bring internet to the people who don't have internet. It's like one of the last areas of the planet which have very limited internet and deserves to have better connectivity. And because this requires a lot of funding, we were going out to get a token out as an investment vehicle, because it's much easier to convince individuals to invest into projects like this than to have like the big venture capital sharks or do an IPO or whatever, where you go through the big banks, which is very, very time consuming. So that's why we planned to do it that way, and we have been very successful so far. We are live in 3 countries, and we have even bigger plans, which we will tell you all about in Dubai on the next step. Back to you.
Yeah. So this is really the people's project. I mean, at the core of this, would you say, Andreas, is like the people are needed? This is not only a revolution, it's the evolution of West Africa, right? I mean, right now the internet is extremely slow, it's unreliable, it's expensive. And I think the numbers are 89.5% of the population in Guinea-Bissau is having zero access. Is that right?
Yeah, it's even worse. I think it's about 10% having access. And it's not only this, the reliability is bad. Like last week, they had to repair a submarine cable because there's a submarine cable break in Abidjan. So they had to switch off the power on a segment between Dakar and Abidjan. And the whole country didn't have any internet at all. Zero. This
is really, everyone out there in the audience, if you think about this, how fast-paced we are. We have so much access, whether you're in London or California or Dubai. I mean, Dubai is popping right now. And then we think about the opportunity in Africa. And I know I'm going to introduce you, Andreas, when we are in Dubai. One of the speakers is coming out. His name is Farsam Kalabadi. And he is a big voice out there in Africa. I don't know. Do you know him by any chance?
Nope.
Okay, good. Well, I want to make that connection for you. And obviously, we're going to be sharing a little more about the project over time, over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be arriving on the 18th, and our event is on the 21st. Our first event is going to be the yacht party. If everyone out there has not looked this up, go ahead and we'll put it into the comments. W3WC.io. It tells you all about what to experience. We're going to have pitch contest. We're going to have speakers and presenters talking about impact. We're also going to talk about token economics. And one of our guests here today, I'm going to bring them up on the spotlight in just a minute, is going to be doing a NFT minting process and education course as well. All right, Andreas, is there any deeper root of why you are doing what you're doing? Why you? Why this project? Why now?
Well, I like challenges. I don't want to build something which is everyone else has already built and just do a me too. I want to do something which is new and which brings people something which they can use, which can last.
Oh, okay. No worries. We'll stick with it. Yep. Brandy, are you back? This happens, by the way. Just a quick reset. By the time you check out Cardano and their project, you can click on and follow Mr. Andreas Fink at the same time. Remember, we have to beat the LinkedIn algorithm. The only way we're going to do it is by resharing the room. And how are you going to do it? Click on the 3 dots. Click on view events detail, and then once you come to that panel, just reshare it to your network. That way, you're letting other people on your network know that this is live. So help us spread the word around.
That's right. And I know we have a special guest in the audience. I want to bring them up just after the news. Will you share a little bit about the news, what's going on our top news stories from the Coin Republic.
Absolutely, without a hesitation. Just give me a second as I pull up the news. In the meantime, you can keep on engaging them and just give me another cue. Or do you want it right now?
Yes, please. Just a brief on the top story that we're going to talk about.
All right,
because
the top story of today, if you can hear it. Coinbase Cloud and Google Cloud join forces with Agent Layer for blockchain innovation. In an innovative development for the blockchain sector, Coinbase Cloud and Google Cloud have joined Agent Layer as operations, making a significant collaboration following the launch of Agent Layer's mainnet. So what's the fuss all about? The blockchain industry is witnessing a significant evolution with the launch of Agent Layer's mainnet. In case you didn't notice, a platform was designed to enhance the security and scalability of the Ethereum network through a unique model of restaking and data availability. This significant development has caught the attention of major tech giants and blockchain companies, with the cloud divisions of Coinbase Cloud and Google Cloud leading the change as some of the first players on the newly launched mainnet. This move indicates a significant shift towards more traditional technology companies that are directly engaging with blockchain technologies. It's bringing their existing extensive infrastructure and expertise to the forefront of the cryptocurrency world, combining both of the best worlds together. The innovative approach of Agent Layer allows Ethereum operators to delegate their activities, including native tokens like ETH or derivatives such as LST, to the operators. These operators in turn provide additional security to the Ethereum network and facilitate layer 2 scalability solutions, essential for the scalability and widespread adoption of the Ethereum ecosystem. Remember, we're talking about blockchain trilemma here. And on our podcast, quick plug, we talk about that extensively with other founders. So Coinbase Cloud, recognizing the potential impact of the Agent Layer protocol, has expressed pride in being among the first operators, emphasizing its role as a trusted partner of the restarters. This statement reflects the industry's general enthusiasm for Agent Layer's ability. The launch of the mainnet is out there, and what does it mean for the market? Well, we do have two of the best of the two worlds, the cloud ecosystem and blockchain technology, combining them both together. What does it mean for the technology and how it's going to reflect on Ethereum's price? It's yet to know.
So is there a piece to this puzzle that we can weave into what's going on in consciousness? We really want to activate our topic today, which is conscious capital, also known as conscious capitalism or impact investing. And so if there's anybody in the audience who wants to share a little bit about their experience when it comes to deep diving, please raise your hand and come on up to the stage. I see we have Ahmed, who has also committed to supporting the Web3 World Consortium. Welcome to the stage.
Hello. Thank you, Brandy, for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we've been behind the scenes talking about impact. Your conferences have covered this conscious capitalism for some time. So I'd like to share with the audience who you are, what you're up to, and your version of where we're headed with technology through conscious capitalism.
First of all, I'm Ahmed Rafai. I am a little bit of my background. I'm a mathematician and a computer engineer, and my career and expertise has been into financial engineering and financial markets trading. I came into the VC world back in 2018. When I started engaging more in 2018 with Web3 and blockchain. Before that, I used to do things in tech, but blockchain or decentralization or Web3 was not in the picture or in the scene at all. I started like doing this kind of VC platforms building ecosystems for governments, for accelerators and incubators, doing this co-investing and club deals with family offices, VC funds, and even sovereign wealth funds. And I had the opportunity and the blessing to be in the middle of the hype and the buzz and all this technological advancements and disruption phase. Started in 2018 with organizing a lot of the investment platforms for some of the earliest pre-seed stages of investments and some of the biggest names that you hear about these days. So I've seen a lot of people who have made it from zero to hero, others who were at the top and then they just went out and bust. So I've learned a lot and I'm still learning. And I used to run and be engaged on the organizing committees of a lot of the tech conferences, the biggest one that you might hear of from LA to Tokyo. Until in 2021, I decided to officially step off all these organizing committees and start my own version, or what am I up to, as you say, is to take this kind of socially networked platforms as they are supposed to be to the next level, or with the next framing that I would really see where are the pain points or what are the missing parts in the ecosystem, bringing it all together. So I started Disrupted.net, which is more of a fusion of a VC hedge fund accelerator experience. So I would usually say that we made a mistake calling it a summit because it is not a traditional summit. I'm not saying it's better or worse, it's just what it is. It's just a little bit different. So it actually starts 3 months before the so-called summit. So for 3 months before, we bring everybody in one venue. Everybody is accommodated in the same venue or hotel with the flights, with everything. We just invite very small number of people who are all related to what we are doing in this specific year. And 3 months before, we gather everybody for 3 nights and we run this meetings, stage master classes and talks and going through deals and partnerships and writing tickets and throwing 3 parties for everyone across the 3 days. 3 months before, all these people are being connected. So 3 months before, we do the term sheets, we do the investor relations, we do the fundraising, we do everything that you would expect from an investment bank. So it's like having a mini Goldman Sachs in your pocket, And then everybody comes to see each other face to face after being engaged for 3 months in advance in emails and Zoom calls and WhatsApp groups and chats, talking about almost 90% of the whole journey and the whole deal. They are just coming for this 3 days and nights to see each other face to face, to shake hands, to finalize and sign everything and take it forward from there. So we don't sell tickets, for example. We don't publicize it or market it in a commercially aggressive or mainstream way because we only have a maximum of 100 people invited. And it's by invitation only. They are all what we call them the enablers of our VC happenings, or if you want to call it a summit. So they work with us. It is not like just a sponsorship that we bring a sponsor in and that's it. No, we call them enablers because there is a lot of work that we ask them to do in order to get them where they want to be. And 3 months after the so-called summit, we do the follow-up, the deal flow management. We put all the marketing and the publicity and the PR on all the major news most of the news that you read about everywhere about a lot of the deals and the startups and the investments and the stuff that you read it on Bloomberg, MarketWatch, Benzinga, Yahoo Finance, you name it, Cointelegraph, Coin Republic. They actually has been a partner to our first edition in 2021. Back then, we couldn't have them in person, attending, unfortunately, back then, but they were kind enough to make some of the PRs before and after the disrupted 2021. So we kind of don't brag about ourselves. We kind of brag more about who has been there and who did what. And as we always say it at Disrupted, we don't make winners. We accept them. So it's a very diligent process of choosing who we would accept as our client or enabler, or if you want to call it a sponsor or whatever tag that you put in it. We don't care as much as we care about the outcome and the deliverables. So we always talk about what we already have done, not what we are going to do. What we're going to do, you're going to hear about it from somebody here or there who has been there and experienced it for themselves.
Ahmed, you are part of what this show is all about. So what people out there in the audience don't realize that this show is more than social audio and we get on here and we talk about it and we have a few articles written. No. This show is about strategy. Take Andreas, for example. I know a lot about his company and I know a lot about your company. We've spent some time together. We are now putting the two of you together strategically. So our calls behind the scene and what I want to offer to the audience is to consider this. When you have people like Ahmed who are genuinely out there consciously creating relationships for the expansion of good and knowledge, right? So you've worked not only with scaling startups, you're with VCs and funds, you work with governments and universities, non-for-profits, the list goes on. As you had mentioned, Disruptive Summit, well, Disrupt, is the world's most untalked about secret. It's one of those accelerator programs that are socially responsible, and you keep on maintaining the relationships. Part of the program is for Andreas and Ahmed to meet. So welcome. I want to ask a question before we open up. We have a couple other people I want to bring to the stage. We have some more VCs that we want to bring to the stage and talk to Andreas a little bit. So the question is, Ahmed, when you hear about Andreas' project and you see that this is going to be game-changing for a lot of people, what is the first thing that comes to mind from your strategic planning mindset?
Well, first thing that would come to my mind if it was something like this is...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So the first thing that will come to my mind is what's their objective and what are their strategies. So I can better have the kind of a similar view from where he is looking at his project and where he's looking to take it. So the objective and the strategy.
Brandy, are you there? Mic check.
Yeah, were you able to listen to my comments?
Yes, your comments. Yes, I think Brandy's mic has been dropped. I would love to introduce you all to Mr. Golem over here. Mr. Golem, are you there, down there? If you can listen, can you get your hands up, please? I cannot get you up without that. Mr. Golem. Yeah, Brandy, are you there, by the way? Hello? She's having mic issues. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to keep on, get the conversation flowing. Mr. Fink, do have to ask. Jason is here as well. So do you to ask, about Casutel, the project, its initiation? Around what time did you decide on? Yes, around what time did you decide on taking action on this project? And why did you choose Web3 as an avenue? Why did you choose IPO to raise money?
I decided to, the Casutel project started off in 2014 with an idea where I visited the country and saw the issues. And then I planned to do something on myself. And then I realized, we're going to need a lot of money to do this. And then we tried to find traditional investors. And at that time, it was very difficult to find them, and I just didn't have the right contacts to find them because I got American investors who are risk friendly, who were like ready to invest in more risky business. But then they were saying, well, Africa, we don't know anything. That's the place where there is Ebola. And actually, in Guinea-Bissau, they had 0 Ebola cases. So New York had more Ebola cases than Guinea-Bissau. And so I was losing a lot of time with those type of contacts. So I decided, well, the cryptocurrency is a hype. It allows a more wider area, a more wider audience to invest in projects. And it's also reducing the risk because the problem with such projects is it's a lot of investment. It's a long-term investment because you have to build infrastructure and so on. And you can only do this if you can constantly drive the project. You can say, okay, we have to do this and we do this and do this. If you have a big VC who has 60% of the capital, then you have the problem that you are losing more time explaining what you're trying to do, getting their approval, than actually doing the business. And if you have a lot of smaller investors, you don't have that problem. So that was my main idea when we went IPO with the coin, and I think it was the right decision at that time.
It is. Yeah, Brandy, Mike, back to you.
Ahmed, testing one. Okay, great. We're on. So Ahmed, I want to have you and Andreas talk a little bit before we toss the mic over to our new guest, because it's important that we have the VC mindset coming in to ask these questions. So you asked about his strategy. Is there any other questions you have that can start the ball rolling and then have private conversations behind the scenes?
Yeah, as I said, it's just 2 simple points. What's his objective and what is his strategy for taking this endeavor or this entrepreneurial journey, and this will help me define what's his impact.
Andreas?
Yeah, well, my strategy is basically to build something up from the ground up, which means we are trying to not to be dependent on anyone, which is especially difficult in Africa. If you are dependent on companies like Orange or some big multinationals, they might have a different agenda, and they might be willing to let you into their network, and when they realize you're becoming a competitor, they can cut you off from one moment to the next. And because the regulatory environment is not like that, this is going to protect you if somebody is playing an unfair game. You have to be independent. So if you have to be independent, this means also that you have to build the infrastructure yourself, which means we have to build towers, we have to lay fiber, we have to make sure that we always have power and so on. Which is a more expensive way of building things up. But when you have done that, you are also going to be the king in the area, because everybody who comes after you, who also wants to build something, then he can lease resources from you. Because like in Europe, if I want to connect Paris and London together, I can, call 20 different companies who can provide me a fiber, and there's fierce competition. The prices are low. If you want to do this in Africa, A, you might not find one who has the fiber between those 2 locations, or B, he's your biggest competitor. So in that case, you're basically paying a very high price, and you're becoming dependent of your competitor who can kick you out of the market from 1 second to the next. So in that case, it's better to be independent as far as you can. It's not always possible, but it's the harder way, but it's the more rewarding way on the long term. That's basically the strategy.
open dialogue. So Ahmed will connect to everybody here. There's a bigger play for all of us to combine our like conversation. So we're going to go around the room and we're going to ask one question today to our guest. If you have a specific question for Andreas, please let us know. You know the project. If you're just stepping in, state your name first because this is recorded. All Spotlight guests will have an opportunity to have either a quote or an article at some point written about them for the benefit of our communities. So going around, I see that Jason Ansel is here. Welcome to the stage.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Great to have you back.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, we're in our 31st, I think this is episode, that's 31 weeks, and then we'll start to go in studio here in Los Angeles. I want to ask you, you're listening in on Andreas' project, and you know Africa is a very big place, and going into these rural areas, do you have any insights or questions that you want to share with him based on your expertise? But first, share a little bit about you.
Yeah, so just a little about me. I'm currently developing a layer 2 blockchain called BSC and building a lot of infrastructure and things around that. Right now, it's kind of my main project that I have going on. And just to touch a little bit on the conscious, what I'm doing is because I'm coming towards launching on mainnet soon, there's a lot of projects and things and IPs and things that I'm onboarding onto our chain. And, of course, all these people are looking for their own financing solutions and are trying to weigh out the options between VC groups, private funding, and, of course, microfinancing, which is something that I'm kind of geared towards lately, especially with Web3 and just pushing people into different types of microfinancing solutions, utilizing blockchain and tokenization, kind of like what Andreas has done here with the tokenization of this project. And, these things really do work if they're put together properly and people are informed and things on exactly the whole kind of process. So just going into what you're doing with going into Africa is quite interesting because, myself, I'm also involved in other projects, infrastructure projects and things like that. There's a consortium I work with right now that's just going out and they're doing a very large rail project. And there's like a lot of things are starting to move towards that region and with the development of smart cities and smart ports, there is a lot of Web3 and technological innovation that's going on there as well. So it's quite interesting to be going in there as a project, and especially one that's utilizing tokenization and things like that in that area, because I think there's a lot of growth that's going on in the African regions, especially once these developments kind of come through and things like that. Like the technology jump in that area is going to be quite huge.
Yeah. Great. It's great to have you back, and your expertise does weave right into the fabric of what Kayatel is doing. So I'm happy to connect you in the back channels. Thank you for being here. We're going to keep on moving around the room. Sarav, is there anybody that you see want to reset the room for right now?
For now, no. There was a person who I wanted to introduce you guys to from Swiss Asset DAO. He just left, I guess. Yes, he did. But yeah, if anybody wants to speak on any topic, I see Alan down there. He's down there in the doctor's clinic. 2 times Emmy Award winner Alan Titel. Of course, he needs no introduction. 2 times Emmy Award winner. So I don't know.
Yeah, we love Alan. So, Alan is our champion. He started out early on in this show and brings a lot of knowledge to the table. We'd like to have you up if you'd like to speak. And we have Shabam. Welcome to the stage. Say a little bit about yourself, state your name, and any insights about Andreas Fink's project and what you're up to. Microphone
yes,
check.
We have a microphone. Yep.
All right. Hello, Alan. We're going to toss the mic over to you. I hear that you are doing well in New York. Is that right?
Good morning, or good afternoon, or good day, wherever you are. It's always a pleasure to be here with both you, Saraf, and Randy. Can you hear me okay? I'm hearing a big echo.
Can you hear me okay? Thank you, my friend. Is it good?
All right, we got it covered. Go ahead, Alan.
Okay, so I'm back. You know, the ability to raise money as a founder can always be tricky, and very often it's very difficult to find the investors that have similar vision to the founder. And when you make and you meet that right person, it makes for an incredible team. But more often than not, you have to be very patient and find that right match. That's what I've found through the years.
Yeah, this is a powerful introspection because we have founders when we have funders, and I'm working on a regular basis to help educate them on the empathic storytelling, the piece to media and relationships and the larger pool of finance is no longer the way that it used to be. You know, we used to walk in, shake a few hands, do the due diligence, and people just, they already met, they trust you. But now we have the technology world. And with token economics and having blockchain a base of this infrastructure and doing liquidity pools, and there's a lot of hearsay and not say and a lot of fear in investing. So what would you suggest for a company or startup to create more trust? What do we go back to the original handshake, or how would you suggest the best placement? And this, Ahmed, I think you can come into play here as well. What would you say is the best way right now? Is it making sure there's a lot of media, or would you think these types of pools and conversations are the start of a good relationship? Alan?
I'm sorry. It's a fine line that you have to go through, and I tend to be old school, and I like to meet the people that I work with. I had a wonderful time meeting you, Brandy, and I got to know you a lot better than you do just online. And I think that the personal relationships are so powerful. And you have to be careful. There are so many times, there have been so many rug pulls, if you will, that have gone on through the last 4 or 5 years, that we have to tread carefully. But when, like I said, when you find the right people to work with, it's such a pleasure.
That's why we started this community. It's not your home or your workplace, it's not your institution. As I mentioned, it's your third place, it's your community. What people are saying about you and your corporation, your company culture, how you do business, what's the infrastructure. Then we get down to the math. And the math is already mapped out. Either you know what you're doing or you don't. Yes, there's going to be some issues on the ley lines of, well, I'll say of our hearts, but is the issue of the ley lines of the infrastructure. If we go in rushing into relationships, and I hope everyone who's raising capital out there hears this, if we go in and rush into relationships, you may find yourself in a very tricky position in the future. Massaging those relationships, making sure you know people's family names, their friends. You go to the places they drink coffee. You fly to where they are to meet them, like Alan came out to meet me. You know, you stand by them even in the days that they are not well. This is where conscious capitalism can make a huge shift. It's not just about profits. It's about people. So I'll toss the mic over to, I have somebody out there who I want to bring to the stage. Jonathan, if you're out there, if you raise your hand, come to the stage. This will be a very healthy conversation for you to intersect. So if, I don't know how to say your name, Shabam? Sorry about that, if I'm messing that up. Jonathan is coming to the stage right now, and Jonathan Foltz has made a career out of consciousness, but also very ingrained in tech. Jonathan, welcome to the stage.
Hey, Brandy. Hey, everyone. Loving the conversation so far. Love what you're doing here. I know you slightly, Brandy, but I haven't heard, what this is about. So I'm glad to be here for sure. 100%.
So the preface is about conscious capitalism and investing in purpose-driven businesses from a place of an entrepreneur, a VC, and a strategist coming into it. What do you look for in businesses when you're investing?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will also preface here is that, we are getting into a new age. Myself recently, I stepped down from a public company, sold one of my other companies, in the middle of selling one of my other companies because things are changing so quickly. And I have done a lot of things in the past just for money, and it has the repercussions that come behind it. So personally, at the moment, and then I see people diving into this more, are companies that care about humanity, that care about people, and they're not just there to make a buck or to get into crypto or blockchain, because it's so fast moving and they can make so much money. So I literally love to find out why they're doing what they do, because a lot of times it just has to do with money. That right there sometimes could be the fall. We've seen that many times. Like we've invested, part of the public company that we're in, which I stepped down from. I'm just helping them strategically now. We're investing into different projects, but the public company itself, they don't care in Wall Street also, for clarity. So both Wall Street, the public sector, this is not every single company, but a lot of them, they care about the bottom line. They care about profit. And again, yes, that's important. But there usually isn't like a bigger picture at the end of the day. And when we're looking now, me personally, if I'm going to invest into something, or also I love what you brought up about the partnerships and such, like it is important to know why they function, why they tick, and if they're actually doing something that is to benefit others or benefit humanity in this insane change that's happening. So like that's usually very important. Like I like to ask that question because most people can't really ask like beyond what they're doing, they can't answer that question of like, why is it really what you're doing? And if they can't answer that question, once I start digging deeper, like it just shows me like when hard times come, they're not going to be able to make it.
Yeah, that's the 3 questions that I always ask. That's part of why 3.0. Yes, 3.0 is why you, why this, and why now. And I'm happy to go around in a circle and bring this up. I saw Christine had raised her hand. If she is up here, I'd love to toss the mic over just a second, Christine. So Jonathan, conscious capitalism, we need to define, well, what is consciousness? And then what is unconscious capitalism? Can you say it in a very short, brief 2 sentences? What is conscious capitalism? And then what is unconscious capitalism?
Okay, so let's start with unconscious capitalism. Unconscious capitalism is, the deployment of the capital that is made in the essence for, under David Hawkins' work. I'm going to encompass this a little bit further. Under David Hawkins' work, if you guys haven't heard the book Power versus Force, he has something called Maps of Consciousness. It's like being in a more balanced manner would be conscious, like caring more about people, seeing 2 sides, present and aware in these type of situations. And then that would be more the conscious type of capital deployment. You're doing it for the greater good of humanity. You care about people, and you're really present to like the reasons that is being done. And unconscious would be, people. And again, a lot of this is happening in Wall Street. Obviously, you guys seeing it out in the world. It's just like they're doing it for power, money, ego, pride. So that's the balance.
Ooh, Oh my goodness. Well, I don't want to keep on interrupting. If anybody wants to chime in on this very special dialogue, this is two sides to the coin. So Christine?
I'd like to take a shot after Christine.
Hey, Brandy. Wow, there's some really powerful speakers on this stage, and I would want to ask them, in building my own social impact venture, which is really about helping people, specifically people with disabilities, to better plan and navigate aging, disability, end of life. The reason I'm doing this, I realize that my daughter is never going to come to full launch in life, and I have temporary full custody of my two grandchildren with significant disabilities. With my experience, I have the ability to build an ecosystem which will help them navigate life financially much better than if they didn't have what I'm trying to implement. But how do I best describe this to people so that they understand exactly what it is? I mean, it's open banking, it's legal, it's tax, it's all kinds of planning. I've built a business, a tech business here that helps people more successfully apply for a tax credit when they have a disability in Canada. But it's really about building a whole ecosystem for those with disabilities, whether they are young or old. But I mean, right now it's typically for older folks, but I just see the tremendous benefits for all families with somebody with a disability, to be able to help them plan and navigate what they're going to be going through.
Do you have a specific question that you would like to talk to Andreas or anybody on the stage at this moment?
It's more about how do I position this? You know, I know that Andreas has got, you know, he's been in the VC world, he's, you know, been in fundraising and fund giving. How do I best tell this story to really engage the people that I need to engage? I want the partners that I want, that resonate with me. If you know what I mean.
Sure. And from a strat, thank you, Christine. And Christine, could you state your name and also your background, your titles?
Yes, sure. It's Christine Brunston from Canada. My background is as a trusted estate practitioner, an elder planning counselor, a master financial advisor, philanthropy. I have got a plethora of experience both on the personal and professional side, of really just stepping into people's shoes to look after them when they can't look after themselves.
Thank you. I think, Andreas, this is a deeper dialogue, is why you, why this, why now? We've already covered that. But what about on the deeper roots of disabilities? Are you seeing this from a macro or a micro perspective when it comes to having the conscious capital run through your storyline of your business while raising capital?
Now, I don't really understand the exact question.
Sure. So having more empathy in your capital raise, getting deeper connections with people of the purpose of your project, have you added that ley line to your fundraising? People of disability, people of better welfare. Tell us a little bit about your position there.
Well, one thing is for sure that the project I'm trying to build is actually helping people to get a better life. And that's because it brings a lot of know-how to people. Because if you think about it, where have you been 20 years back without the internet? You know, there's when you want to get education, currently you're just using Google and you search and you use Wikipedia and you find everything very quickly. Those people, they don't have access to this. And they might not even have a library to go to look up books. So they have a very worse situation when it comes to education. And that's something we are fixing on the way, because by having access to information, you have access to teach yourself and to improve your skills. And I think that's a very powerful goal for people to raise up and to to build a better economy.
Thank you. Ahmed, and for you, what is the best way to reach, in this modern day and age, what is the best way to reach your ideal partner, your investor? And when we have some feedback. Ahmed?
Yes.
What would you say is one of the best ways to reach ideal investor, VCs, new employees?
Well, so far we have our own approach that might be a little bit more different than somebody else. We are really relying more on the long-term relationships. So as I've mentioned, a brief explanation of the wide spectrum of disrupted ecosystem as an infrastructure enabling not just like Yes.
Hello? Are we there?
Yeah.
Testing.
It's like listening to an episode of CNN.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So part of our approach in building all this kind of network and relationships comes more from our personal connections from these players in the ecosystem, people that we have dealt with before, startups that we know them most of the time either through their first days of inception, and we have been witnessing their experience right from the start, and we have been seeing how hard they have worked their way up from almost nothing to where they are now. So we are really believing in them personally and in business-wise, because when it's good people, it's good business. Others we get to deal with them directly. They kind of get referred to us through other partners, through other startups, through investors that we know who have invested in some of the deals that we presented to them before, or they are bringing them from their own portfolios, or they have invested with us before or invested along the side of other investors from other network as well. So we are more relying on the personal connections that we know directly and personally. So that's why every participant system, which is a very small number of people, but yet we call them very, very powerful, very, very, very efficient and very impactful, Everybody who participates in our happenings for us is a big deal, So because they come and as I have stated before, they are well educated about what is their role, how they are going to participate, what they are bringing to the table, what value are they getting out of it, what's in it for them, and what's in it for us and the entire participants as well, So this is our own way. It's more or less like slow cooking, It takes time, but once the right recipe and ingredients are there, and it takes its time to get well cooked, it tastes the best,
Use cases would be at the center of it all for a VC. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that beyond the traditional due diligence process that you will go through, either from a business model perspective or from a technical due diligence perspective, because you have to look at the both sides, technical and business, into any project. It's not just how amazing the technology is and how well structured and crafted the business model is. As we always say, the jockey is much more important than the horse. If you don't know how to drive a car, I don't care if you have a Ferrari, you're going to crash it.
Interesting. Yeah. So you're betting on as a VC, you're willing to bet on the person.
Exactly. It's all about building relationship and trust, because in the end, you're taking a risk. From the very exact moment you start a conversation about investment, you're dealing with risk. So are you willing to take this risk or not? Is it worth it to take this risk or not?
What might I ask? I mean, and of course, Jonathan is there as well, and anybody who wants to chime in on this. What about, beyond the person? Can it be use cases and as well?
Of course, as I said, you first have to go through the use case, the technical aspects, the business aspects. But beyond that, this is what everybody can qualify for. What will take you to the next step is when you really have the people who will go far with you. Because as the saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you're going to go far, go together. So I better choose who I'm going to be stuck with for a couple of years from now.
Why don't you guys share a couple of...
I'll add some context there too. And I like track records too. Like, so what you were saying, like I like track records, like if they have a good track record, and then you a lot of times it's good to talk to business partners and people from the past to see what their strengths and weaknesses are. If you're able to talk to those people, you get a good sense of like where they were. I happen to find like people that I did business with or companies I invested in, like I didn't do sufficient amount of due diligence with people they've worked with in the past. And that kind of gives you a notion. Doesn't mean it's going to be exactly how it is, but if they have a good purpose in mind, their track record is pretty good, and they're audacious. I also like to bet on the jockey, not just the vehicle itself, because you're going to have to pivot many times.
Jonathan, you both touch on something that's very interesting, and I really like, Jonathan, when you're talking about getting to know the people, and in the height of the pandemic, I had developed a new technology for a new mask, and we were going to build a plant here in the U.S. that was going to make masks for kids. We had a business plan that we would pay back investors double plus in under 3 months. And their big question was, what was the sales projections for 5 years? Now, on masks during a pandemic, I kind of scratched give them the insight. So I said, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I had to stop on that project because we just weren't the right fit.
Yeah, you also, I'll give you some context on that. Actually, I sold 70,000 masks during COVID of my own prototype, which, by the way, I'm not the biggest fan of the whole masking thing, but I made one for myself personally. And I didn't go out and find investors or anything because like it was one of those things where you just had to move quickly. And that type of business is something that like someone needs to know that you have to be quick and efficient and you could get the investment back. But like, if you hear that also, like, for example, one of the companies that's getting purchased right now, they're like, hey, what's your 5-year plan on, it's an e-commerce brand. And we're like, to be quite honest, like anyone doing a 5-year plan, unless it's the intention of where you're going, like if you guys want projections and exactly how it's going to work, like this is not going to work because I can't really even make plans past 6 months or a year because of how fast artificial intelligence is moving. And to be quite honest, like you have to do much shorter sprints. You can have a vision of what you want the brand to be, but if they want financial projections and they want to see exactly how you do things long term, to be honest, that's like not even existent anymore because of the rate of speed that we're entering into.
Exactly. And that was my whole feeling was that you were going to get a great rate of return up front loaded, and those projections were backed by orders. And my comment to them was that in 5 years, if I'm not selling masks, I'll put the machine in the offshore and have it as a new coral reef. And that got them a little upset.
Hey guys, I want to step in here. I want to make sure you can hear me okay. I was having some technical issues, but I'm loving the conversation. I know that we're going to have to hop off in just a second. We're just a few minutes past the hour, but I want to invite that conversation back to everyone in this circle. Jonathan, I want to have you come back as a spotlight feature because I know we came in a little bit later and this is a bigger conversation than the time that we have, unfortunately. I do want to go around the entire group and say thank you, first and foremost. thank you for being who you are. And thank you for seeing the world through the eyes that you see it. Because the lens that you have is the projection of the future world. And every time you come into conversation such as this one today, we are streamlining the consciousness through every ether. And that means that whatever we do, because we've seen it, we were a part of it, we communicated it, we onboarded others to our visions. It's not just about profit. It is about being a prophet, if you will. It is about honing into your craft and being able to onboard others. I know people want to raise money really fast, and fast money always causes fast problems. So being conscious about your impact and understanding where you're putting your thoughts, your relationships, but mostly where you're putting your money. Who are you investing in? Who are they? What do they believe in? What is their core mission, vision, and purpose? At this point, we know it's a small few of us, right, coming into this woke state of living. The purpose behind your profit, conscious capitalism recognizes that businesses have a border. It purpose beyond solely maximizing its profits. It emphasizes creating value for all stakeholders, not just a small few top down. It's including employees, customers, communities, and environments. Another aspect of it is all about social and environmental responsibility. Not just because it looks good out there. I'm a part of the ESGs and the social sustainable development goals. But really, can we have a case study that says this has really changed the world for the better good? Conscious capital integrates social and environmental considerations at all points. Circular economics, if you don't know what it is, and it's not in your company or your conversations, please start to learn these ethical practices of sustainability. We get to, and as we heard on this call today, we get to have long-term thinking. And I know it's like short terms out there saying like scale, exit. But rather than focusing solely on short-term financial gains, conscious capitalism takes long-term perspectives. It's a values-based system, value based on values. It's sustainable growth that we get to consider the impact and the decision-making for future generations. Transparency and accountability. We talked a little bit about this, but I would love to talk more in our next episodes because we get deep into the ESG factors and disclosing, and I love the blockchain for this. The vision of blockchain will never go away. The purpose of blockchain will never go away. It's transparency. Transparency. So we get to be respondable, not just responsible. We get to have the call to action for our future self and future generations. That is my recap. That is my commitment to this show and to all of you here today. Thank you, Jason, Sarav, Alan, Andreas, a wonderful Kayutel project, Ahmed bringing the noise over to the Web3 World Consortium partnership. I want everybody to know, I haven't announced this, but Ahmed has confirmed his participation in Dubai. He is helping with curating some of our speakers, curating some of our VCs, including himself, and helping educate venture capital on how to actually use wallets and NFTs. I'm excited to see your outline there. And I just want to say, Christine, you're my hero. Being such a caretaker and thinking about the elders. And now you've been named, I think you had an award for getting into the metaverse and AI. And Alan, as always, thank you. Listen up, everyone out there. If you like what you heard today, the spotlight is for you. If you have a project, if you're a founder or a funder, and you really want to go deeper into building community, show up weekly here at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and be sure to sign up on our application to our community, because there's a lot more happening in the back of this channel where we're helping make connections, as you heard today, and also doing strategy behind media to help build your brand in order for you to gain more trust. It's effective. I just want to thank the Coin Republic. I know you're working hard out there to get this event to the maximum. And I see that it's coming together quite nicely. Next week, we will all be in Dubai, simulcasting live from our conference. And I just want to say again, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are the reason that great change happens, and continue to do what you're doing. I know it's a scary world, but if you just get past the fear, you're going to get into a pure abundance and wealth. Thank you everyone for today. And be sure to share and like all the speakers today in the back channel. Ask any questions of how to get involved with the projects. Thank you. Wonderful to have you. Bye for now.